What would be the one British biscuit that you would choose if you could only have one for the rest of your life? What a terrible proposition. And what actually is a biscuit? Well, there were court cases about this. And what's the optimal time to dunk your biscuit in your cup of tea? There was a scientific study about this. We'll discuss it all today. Welcome to this AI-free space, fellow connoisseur of curiosity. I asked this question to my friends in my WhatsApp groups. What's the one biscuit that you would choose for the rest of your life? My best friend said something totally ridiculous. He also came up with a crazy idea when I asked him about the best British chocolate as well. But for biscuits, he said not something normal, a staple that you'd find in any British cupboard or pantry. He said lemon puffs. I mean, can you believe it? Is it even a biscuit? It's a wafer, isn't it? Or is it a confectionery snack? And he got so irate in this WhatsApp conversation that he then ordered a 12-pack of lemon puffs from Amazon and sent the order receipt to our WhatsApp group. The other friend in the WhatsApp group, she said something much more reasonable and much more British, I would say. An unusual choice, but she said malted milk. Wow. It's kind of like a digestive, isn't it? Not quite. But what about the sales volumes? When you look into it, what are the most popular British biscuits? By brand, I think we all know, don't we? It's McVities. What's more British than McVities? I'll go into the history about that in a moment. Quite unusual. But McVities is the top, and then number 2 saddened me. It's the company that makes Oreos. How is that number 2 in British sales of biscuits? Oreo is American, and for me, I would say it's pretty tasteless, isn't it? I explained why chocolate in America tastes horrible to Brits in the chocolate video. It's because they put completely different things in it, but Oreo is just nothing, isn't it? If I'm wrong about this, let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's number 2. And then number 3 is the company that makes Foxes for posh biscuits, like Viennese. And also that group contains Burton's, which makes wagon wheels for you old school Brits out there, and Jammy Dodgers for the raspberry lovers amongst us. And what about the top 3 biscuits by sales themselves? The number 1 is McVitie's chocolate digestive. Absolutely clear number 1 in sales. There are so many sold in Britain that every second of every day, 70 are consumed by Brits, which is something like 8 million a day, something over 8 million. Help me out with the maths, please. Number 2 position, very surprising for me, was, can you guess? Walker's shortbreads, or supermarket premium brands of shortbread. Amazing. And this number goes even higher seasonally, such as at Christmas. And number 3 is the McVitie's chocolate hobnob. Yes, very British, fantastic biscuit. So McVitie's were a company that started in 1839. Where? When I said British, did you think McVitie's are English? Because they're Scottish. They started in Edinburgh, and they were called McVitie's and Price when they started. and it was Robert McVitie and his father, William, and they were making pastries, and they didn't open a factory in Edinburgh until 1888. They were baking the biscuits in lots of shops. And it wasn't until 1892 that possibly the greatest British invention of all time was created by one of their workers called Alexander Grant. And he made the British McVities digestive. Thank you, sir. We honour you. This was so popular that in 1893, just 1 year later, McVities baked the cake for the royal wedding of Queen Anne and George V. And they baked the cake later on in 1847 for HRH, Queen Elizabeth II. So when you're scoffing a McVitie's digestive, or a chocolate digestive, or a hobnob, or a rich tea, you are basically royal adjacent. You're kind of like the Queen, which is very reassuring, isn't it? Can't beat a McVitie's. And the history of biscuits actually goes back further than even McVitie's, because the Royal Navy had what was called ship biscuits or ship's biscuits, and they were made of simply flour and water and a pinch of salt. And they were so very hard that the sailors called them molar breakers, because they used to break their teeth. And they would even use these ship biscuits as postcards. They were so tough that they would carve letters into them and send them home as postcards, because they were better than paper, because paper at this time deteriorated in the sea air, and nothing could stop a ship's biscuit from the Royal Navy from getting home. Absolutely incredible. So I mentioned in the intro, what is a biscuit? Well, we know because in 1991, Jaffa Cakes took the British government to court about it, claiming that a Jaffa cake is a cake, not a biscuit. They even baked a huge Jaffa cake in the court to prove to the judge how they made it and then what happened afterwards. Because, remarkably, according to science, a biscuit starts off crisp. When it goes off, it goes soft. And a cake, on the other hand, it starts off soft, and when it goes off, it goes hard. And the Jaffa cake in court went hard. So they stopped paying tax on Jaffa Cakes, because a chocolate covered biscuit or snack is considered a luxury item and has 20% tax rate. A cake, on the other hand, legally in Britain is considered a staple. That's reassuring, isn't it? That us Brits need cake to keep us going. It's what made Britain great. Cakes. So that's how we know what technically is a biscuit. But us Brits, we like to have a little bit of sogginess to our biscuits, don't we? Because we dunk them. Do other nations dunk their biscuits? I'm not so sure, because they don't have the cup of tea like we do they? But when you are dunking your biscuit, what's your rescue system? If a bit of the biscuit falls off in your cup of tea, do you fish it out with a spoon? Or do you slurp it out? Or have you got some other amazing technique that your grandmother taught you? Let me know in the quiz and in the comments down below. But there was an incredible scientific study done by the University of Bristol in 1998 with Dr. Len Fisher leading the team, and it was called Optimum drinking time or optimum dunking time study. And they found that the optimal time for a British biscuit to be dunked is 3.5 to 5 seconds. And the best British biscuit for dunking was a McVitie's chocolate digestive, because of the structural backbone of the chocolate enabled enough tea to be absorbed without destroying the crumbs and letting them float into your tea. They found that rich tea should not be dunked for more than 3 seconds. Otherwise, you're in a world of pain. But the most important stat that they found in this study, for me, definitely was that if you dunk a biscuit for more than 8 seconds, approximately 8 seconds, then 90% of biscuits have what is called total catastrophic structural failure. So be very careful around the 8-second mark when you are dunking your biscuits. But Brits just can't agree on what is the best biscuit and what would be the one biscuit that you would have for the rest of your life. Are you clear in your mind about this? Because I asked loads of my British friends in WhatsApp about this, and there was chocolate digestives, bourbon creams, custard creams, jammy dodgers. The list went on and on and on. Myself, when I'm in a British supermarket, I live abroad, so when I go to a British supermarket, I linger in the biscuits aisle because it's a real treat for me. Because living abroad, I've lived in 4 different countries, and the biscuits abroad are, to be charitable, let's say, of a lesser quality. So when I'm in a British supermarket, firstly, my eyes are always hunting for a fig roll. Can you beat a fig roll? I mean, it's just fantastic. So sweet and so savory at the same time. But can you put 3 of those in your pocket and go out on a long hike in some cling film or silver foil? Would you do that? Or would it be digestives? Surely you would choose digestives for your mid-hike snack. You wouldn't do it with a ginger nut, would you? They'd start going soft. So even though I love fig rolls and I will devour a packet of fig rolls immediately on opening them, unfortunately, I don't think that I would have that as my one biscuit for the rest of my life. Similarly, when I'm looking at those biscuit shelves in a supermarket, I'm always looking to see if they have jammy dodgers, because as a kid, I just used to love jammy dodgers, didn't you? They are incredible, but as you mature, your tastes become somewhat more sophisticated, don't they? And if I have a packet of jammy dodgers now, I just can't stop myself with any biscuits when I open them. But if I open a packet of jammy dodgers and I eat them all at once, I feel a bit disgusted with myself and a bit sickly afterwards. So I think that one biscuit for the rest of my life would have to be a digestive. You can do a lot with it. You can make it savory, you can put some cheese on it, you can have it just on its own, you can put some jam on it or some marmalade, and you can bash it all up and make it into biscuit crumbs, and it can be the base for a cheesecake. So I think the variety and just the heritage and the royal adjacent nature of McVitie's digestives means that that would have to be the biscuit for me. Not store's own, though. Not Tesco's or Sainsbury's or Waitrose or whoever. It would have to be McVitie's. There's something that just gives it that je ne sais quoi. Sorry to use a French term there in a British podcast. But yeah, McVitie's digestive for me. Am I crazy? Is it too boring? What would be your choice? Let me know in the comments down below. And think about subscribing, because we've got lots of other intriguing questions, quirky nostalgia, and heartwarming stories to get through. And until next time, toodaloo.